I'm not sure what happened with all the fonts. Okay, let us see them this way. Hello, my name is Misha, and I'm an analyst at Yandex here in St. Petersburg. I will tell you about my platform Yandex Toloka, or Toloka, call it as you like it. And okay, let us begin. Let me first tell you about the plan of our talk. First of all, I will tell you about our platform in general. What is our platform? What is the purpose of it? What tasks can we accomplish with it? Next, I would like to tell you about how do we plan to develop our platform, what is the main philosophy of it, and what are our plans. And the next task will be what machine learning problems do we face in our way, what challenges are we trying to solve. Okay, so what do we need for machine learning in general? Of course, we need a model, be it linear model or discrete trees or neural networks. Of course, we need computational power, potential clusters on GPU, and we need data. We need observations, and we need labeling and generating data. I apologize for all the fonts. On my computer, it looks different. Maybe some fonts are not installed here. Don't worry. And our platform is intended to label and collect data for machine learning. Okay, what is crowdsourcing? Crowdsourcing is a specific way to design some process and to allocate some big and complex task to a cloud of workers. Each one of the workers may not be proficient or may not be a professional in this task, but the majority of them, but all of them may result in give us some results that we cannot achieve from one of them in general. And so the problems arise, how do we allocate our task to the cloud of workers? And how do we get the results after they complete the tests? And, okay, suppose we are a big IT company, and we have many different services. Each one of them, or almost all of them, need machine learning in some or other way. The main goal is to provide search engine and to gather data for machine learning search algorithms. We need to get a training base for this algorithm somehow. So let us think what tasks what labels do we need to have to train our machine learning search algorithms. For example, we need to have huge amounts of labeling search queries. For example, if I search for cat photos, what search results are better, left one or right one? What happened with this one? Okay, suppose we want to build a self-driving car service. What do we need to create a self-driving car service? Of course, we need computer vision algorithms. What do we need for computer vision algorithms to work? Of course, we need image classification. We need to have a huge number of labels where each image will have a number of labeled objects, whether it is a pedestrian or is it a road sign or is it a tree. What do we need to have a machine translation service? So of course we need training data for a number of machine translation examples. And for any other kind of service that Yandex makes, we need some training data for machine learning. For personal assistant, of course, we need to okay, so we need a huge number of services that need machine learning in some other way, so we need a huge number of training data. How can we get all the training data? We can ask each service personal to get the data that it needs. It's really hard. So we decided that we need a special platform to gather all the training data for all our machine learning services, and actually all the outside machine learning services too. But the problem was that gather data is not fast, not cheap, and it's usually of low quality. So 4 years ago, we built a platform called Yandex Toloka, and that helped us to get all the training data, all the labels for all our machine learning platforms, all our machine learning algorithms. It is pretty effective, and let me describe how do we create our ecosystem of workers. So for the crowd of about 10,000 anonymous workers, we have about 1,000 of slightly more trained assessors that actually partly Yandex employees. For about 1,000 of them, we have about 10 of trained specialists and about 1 manager to help them receive their projects. And main responsibilities and main tasks of our platform is, of course, as I mentioned, data generation for machine learning, any content creation, and there's another possible task to automatization and optimization of every huge process that a huge ICT company may need. For example, social media marketing, support, or recruitment, or any other activity of such kind. And our platform is very easily scalable. The user base is very diverse. We have many different nationalities, many different regions. Our platform is always online. So it's a pretty effective way to get labeled data for machine learning. Okay, let me give you some numbers of our growth. We have about 2 million thousands of registered users, about 1 million in this year, in 2018. About 1 million of active users, where I say that the user is active if he made something useful for us, if he completed any task for us, if he made any label for us. And we have 3 billion of achieved labels. And we have about 4,000 of projects in this year, where a project is a set of labels of tasks of similar purpose from one requester. And as far as I know, this is pretty comparable to hugest competitors like Mechanical Turk from Amazon and some others. Okay, let me give you some, that was generalization. Let me give you some examples about how our tasks really work. What labels can we get from our platform? Basically, we can get almost any kind of labels. But for example, Yandex wants to build its own self-driving car service. For self-driving service, we need to have a good computer vision algorithms. For good computer vision algorithms, we need to have a good training data. We need to, and the tasks look as following. For any photo of a real street, the user, this is a real screenshot of a task in our system. And what do we need to do on it? We need, for every object then the camera in the car can see, we need to bound it carefully, and we need to label what kind of object it is. Is it a pedestrian? Is it a tree? Is it a road sign? Is it a building? Is it another car? And of course, I cannot label of course I can label the pedestrian as a tree and then think, okay, the car will now go this way and drive this way. Now we have a deep system of quality control, which works as following. For every marked images, okay, first of all, the first stage, the first user marks image with about 10 cents per image. He tries to mark every object. After that, we give this labeled image already to some number of other users, our workers. We also call our workers our lockers, so don't be surprised at that word, please. These workers answer a much easier question: are there any mistakes in the answers of first step? And the last step, more highly trained worker checks the second step and makes the final verdict. Can we use this picture? Can we use this labeled picture to use in our computer vision training? Final result is about 30 cents per image, about 1.5 cents per object on an image. And okay, we have online tasks where you can go to Yandex.Talaka website and label some data and say, okay, this is a good result for such query, this is a bad result for such query. And we have whole different types of tasks. We call them offline or pedestrian tasks, when you should really go somewhere in your city and accomplish some simple task, maybe photograph something or take a note about something. And these tasks are available only in mobile Tulaka app, and this is a real screenshot of a user interface. As you can see, this is a map of Moscow around the Moscow Yandex office. And in some areas, there are a group of tasks available to the worker. Why can we need it? For example, we need to get our information on all our maps in the most actual way. For example, we need to make sure that every organization that we have on our maps really does exist. And so the majority of tasks for pedestrians are, please go to this organization and photograph it and send us your photo. There are some other tasks, but this one forms the majority. And there are a huge number of research problems about how to allocate this task to workers. For example, how does area correspond to price of the task? For example, why does this worker go to this area? Does he like tasks there? Or does he just live there? So he takes tasks just on his way home. And the workflow for this quality control and for these tasks are a little more elaborate and complex, so let me explain it in detail. As the first step, the worker receives the task, comes to the point on the map, and checks that this business really exists, and sends us to the server or to the Tulaka app the photograph of it. And the second step here, automatic algorithms checks whether the photograph is with the correct GPS coordinates. This is the place he should really go. And the third step, we check that the photo that he sent us does not contain in any of our databases, that he did not search this photo in the internet, but he really took it. Okay, then we check whether he found the business actually, and if no, can we do it again? Is there really address on the photo? Was the whole area photographed? Maybe he just wasn't trying enough. And if he found the business, maybe we can use this photograph for something else. Maybe we can get information about this organization, like name, phone number, or website, or working hours. And of course, we can use this information received from this photograph for computer vision algorithms further on. And also, there can be some additional steps. So, for example, can this photo be used on maps, to show on maps, or cannot? And so there's a complex of simple tasks with a simple binary answer, can or cannot. And this example is really representative because of all kinds of scientific problems, research problems we are facing. For example, they should not have appeared all right away, but okay. Okay, let us proceed from top to right, from top to bottom. How can we determine what is a fair price for such task? How can we determine what is it a minimal price that a worker is willing to work for this price? Is it a price that we can achieve the high quality? We had a interesting experiment some time ago, because if we were trying to raise our prices 4 times for some small number of people, and we didn't get any increase in quality. So after some price points, there is no increase in quality. So we need to find that exact price point that gets us a higher quality, and not higher. Okay, at what steps we can apply machine learning here? Can we apply machine learning to check the photo originality, for example? Maybe we can. How can we control the whole other area about which I will talk in a few slides later? How can we control the quality of the whole system? How can we be sure that all these people that are checking what the business really found are not lying to us? Maybe they are just making a mistake. How can we measure it? Okay, another problem, how can we motivate our workers? Maybe we should use some techniques like in online games. Maybe we should use ratings for every guy. Maybe we should use some achievements like, hey, you're a good guy, you photographed 10 different organizations today. Okay, and maybe how many people can we include in this last check? How many is enough to really say that, okay, we are sure now that this photo is okay, or answer to any other binary question. And most general topic is how to aggregate results. Imagine we received whole number of answers to some binary question. How do we get an exact answer? And the most general question, how to design this workflow in general as a whole. Okay, let me proceed to another task. And as I said earlier, we can use our platform not for only gathering, labeling for machine learning algorithms, but also for some simple tasks like automatization of some processes. For example, automatization of tracking company mentions in social networks. Every day we get about 60,000 mentions per day. This is a graph of mentions of Yandex and Yandex services and all social networks for the first half of 2018. And we need to determine which of these messages require immediate attention. Which do we need to answer to? These are real examples of some messages. What do you think? Which one should be answered? Unlimited photos in Yandex Drive, money loan, cool posters, how to import my library to Yandex Music. Only the last one should be answered. Yeah. So we need to make some filter that will fast enough tell us that only the last one should be answered, and the other ones are not worth our attention. And it works as following. About 60,000 mentions per day are registered. Simple filters with like regular expressions and some other not very intelligent algorithms get us about half of them. Machine learning filters get us about 5,000 of them. Our tallockers in our platform get us about 3,000 of them. Assessors, we call assessor a highly trained tallocker that is a Yandex employee, get us about 300 of them, and to support service from every day, only get about 100 or 200 mentions. So we are able to react at them pretty immediately. I heard that median time is like 5 minutes and top time is like half an hour or so. Pretty impressive. Okay, and let us think about some other tasks that we can get the label to. Imagine we're willing to create our own chatbot. And this is a screenshot of I think it was in Yandex competition of creating chatbots, but it may be any other chatbot training task. So as you can see, the user talks with the bot, and after each of his answers, the user can label whether he likes the answer or not. So if we want to train and to control the quality of our chatbot, we can send a set of tasks, a project with a set of tasks to, like this one, to talk with the bot on a given topic and to estimate its quality. And our own personal assistant, Yandex Alice, was trained in mostly the same way, and is being trained in mostly the same way. Okay, and of course you can explore and discover all these amazing tasks on our website. And of course you can place your own projects with tasks too. Let us proceed to the following parts of our talk about how do we treat our platform in general, how do we plan to develop it, and what is our general philosophy of our service. I think that it is the first time when I mentioned that there are actually two kinds of users in our platform. There are workers, or as we call them, tallockers, and there are another dual kind of user requesters. Workers come in huge numbers. They want to receive payments. They want to complete tasks. Requesters bring us tasks and budget and want to get good labeled, perfectly labeled data. And the Yandex Talloka is a platform that process all the communications between them. We process all the payments, we process all the customer support, all the assignment of tasks to workers, etc., etc. And we consider our platform as a kind of marketplace with two kind of markets, and the platform between them, that's our logo, by the way, and there's a market of workers and a market of tasks, and we need to connect them in the most efficient way, and that's a real research problem, how to do it most efficiently. It's a whole area of research problems, how to do it most efficiently. For example, yes, that's I already said, and the closest relatives to our service, besides, of course, other crowdsourcing services like Amazon Mechanical Turk, are taxi services, which are two-sided markets. They are riders and they are passengers. And the taxi service is a platform that connects them in some other way. Accommodation services like Booking.com, they are travelers and they are hotels, and accommodation platform connects them. Online advertising, is maybe some other scale, but it's the same philosophy, that there are users that can click on advertisement and there are advertisers that want the advertisement to be clicked on. And there are online markets like eBay or AliExpress with the same idea. And so we have two types of users, one more time. We have workers that consider they may go to earn money. For some, this is really their full-time job. We have, and each one of them may have alternatives outside, and they're very flexible. They can enter and leave, they can switch tasks, they can increase the quality, they can decrease the quality, they can take a day off or anything else. And we have requesters. They can come with a project and they want to complete it with the most perfect way. And they want the labels usually in two ways. Either they want maximal quality, maximal time, as fast as possible, as good as possible, maximize all that you can. Or they say, these are money, here's the money, here's the quality that I want, and here's the time that I have. Give me the labels. And we want to optimize our platform to satisfy their restrictions. Not necessarily to give them the maximal quality that they want, but just to satisfy these restrictions. It's another problem. And they do have some alternatives. They can complete the tasks themselves or find another worker source and maybe not do it at all. Maybe do it in some automatic way. Okay. And let us proceed to the final part of our talk. This is the challenges and mainly the research problems that we face and that we are trying to solve and that we want to cooperate on. For example, from the side of platform development, the most important task, of course, is how to allocate tasks to workers, how to match tasks to workers so that common wealth, the whole system wealth, will be maximized. And now it is not done in any way. Any worker can, there are some restrictions, but basically any worker can pick any task and start to working on it. And there are no recommendation system. How can it be, you may ask? We do not have enough people now to do it. And there are many number of other problems. For example, there's the usual trade-off between speed and quality, and every requester has a kind of mechanism where he can say, okay, I want this high speed but not very high quality, or I want this high quality and I can wait a little bit longer. And there's a whole new area of problems from the auction design. For example, if we have a worker and he starts to choose his problems, in what order should we show him these problems? There's a whole bunch of problems about keeping the system balanced. For example, if the number of workers will start to diminish for some reason, maybe for some outside effect, maybe for internet connection break in some region, of course the number of requesters will too start to diminish in time, and we need to keep it balanced and not to take really hard effects based on this. And the whole other area of research is quality. we need to, first of all, to control the quality of labels, and second of all, to predict which quality we're able to achieve for a given dataset. I will talk a little about control. Okay, let us proceed from top to bottom one more time. There are several known simple ways to control the quality. For example, we can take 10% of all tasks and substitute them with tasks which we know answer for. And every worker will have 10% tasks which with the answer already known to us. So we can easily measure the quality with a percent of correctly answered honeypots, as we call them. It's the most efficient and most easy way, but the problem is that for the workers that do not complete many tasks, they may not receive any known answers. So we need some other ways too. The popular way is majority vote, agreement level. For example, when let us measure the quality of a worker by what percent of his answers is consistent with the answers of a majority. It is less efficient as the first one, but to some kind it's okay too. Of course, we train and pre-select performers. Of course, we do peer review. As I mentioned above, the photo from the maps is not always accepted, but when it is okay in some different ways. So we can accept any task, or we can reject it and then give it a quality of 0. And of course, we need to offline and online. We need to ban cheaters in offline and online way, and automatic and all tries to automate the Yandex local labeling. And in our team, there are specialists and researchers in all connected areas, especially in machine learning, mechanism design, auctions, natural languages, data mining. We regularly publish papers and participate in leading conferences on the topics. And let me sum up by listing all the main problems that we are facing now. And also say that the goal of this talk is to encourage cooperation in either research or industrial way. For example, we can provide our data to teams of researchers if they are willing to share their results. Let me list some of the topics maybe. For example, we usually for example, I haven't talked about classification of tasks now, of course it is too important. There is also a problem of dynamic overlapping of tasks. What is it? It's given the task, the formulation of task, how to determine to how many workers should I give it? To one worker. What if he's made a mistake? Okay. So let me remind you that we're open for any research or industrial cooperation, and if you are willing to do so, please contact me on my corporate email. And thank you for your attention. Your questions are welcome.
Any questions?
Thank you for the talk. And, I have a question about the perspective of workers in the log, because we used to log a lot in the past. So our past use was for the rules certification. We updated sensitive memories. It was a fantastic experience. But due to the time limit, so we were restricted in time, I had to choose only the top with 30% of the workers. And
so certify the ratings.
I can't remember. It's a really very low number. And I paid, well, more than the median of the task. And the problem is, this is a quite fat amount of money that you can get easily because we want to attract people. However, I've seen a lot of reports in which the workers complain that we have no career ladders in crowdsourcing platforms. It doesn't apply only to the local.
Yeah,
do you see perspectives? So how to maybe some paths from the beginning, so I just installed Locker, or I just logged in, and to the Locker master.
Yes, thank you for the question. We just provide a number of questions to different topics. But yeah, the problem of currently delivering in our source is actually open. The main idea is that if you we have dynamic pricing, so if you have quality going up, you will receive more money. So maybe that was a problem with the case, but we are thinking now about how to make the delivery system more clear to users. So I was talking about some maybe information on some ratings, but there is a real problem in making a rating for users. We can sit now and in 5 minutes made up a whole bunch of different ratings, all of them will be attractive, but there is no mechanics, or at least no mechanics to me about how to determine if the rating is good. How to tell this rating is good and this is not. I don't know.
I have one idea, so just random thought. Maybe it's like in video games, so for instance in a video game you can see, oh, if I will be for instance level 11, I can use my second level, my ultimate ability and so on, and maybe you can show the people the tasks that they are not eligible right now, but after some efforts, they will be able to do that.
We had a pretty funny meeting to some game development company. I think it was Global Gaming from the past this summer. And the talk was about gamification, about any ratings, about any achievements, and with every topic they were like holding for the heads and were saying, this is not the correct way to do gamification. This is another way. So yeah, this is in our plans for the next year too. But the problem is that so much topics that we need to elaborate. There's gamification, there's ratings. I think the most important now is matching tasks to workers. It's like it's an obvious. First of all, we need to match tasks and workers in effective way, and then maybe create a rating. So, if you are interested in it, please come to work with us, maybe. Any other questions?
Do you have any grants for studies or science papers? So maybe you can grant somebody with $100 to spend for research?
Such cases are not known to me, but it is easily discussable. We can talk about it in more details, if you like. Yes?
What's about the geographical distribution of workers and other many annotators with English as the native language, and what are the opportunities if, for example, we need annotators with native English language, for example, in comparison with Mechanical Turk or Cloud Factory or Cloud Cloud?
The exact percent of native English users are not known to me. I estimate it's maybe like a 20. Maybe 10% or 5%, something like this, maybe smaller. Of course, vast majority is native Russians, but I think that in comparing with Mechanical Turk, the highest advantage of Talok is that it is several times cheaper. So, have I answered your questions? Any other questions? Yes?
Do requesters verify the labeled data themselves, and where the cases vary?
Yeah. Quality control are distributed between requesters and the platform in some way. They can provide us some means of quality control too, but we do something too.
Right.
For example, they can provide us with
battery down, with questions with known answers. We cannot generate questions with known answers to any outside project. So they give us the answers they want to get, and the tasks they want to get label into, and they give us some part of label data that we can use for measuring quality. This is the most common way of measuring quality in this way.
And another point, do you have any options for requesters that need the data to be protected? I mean, they need some personal data of customers or something else.
I don't get your question.
So what what if I do not want my data to be shown to some random people?
Well, then you don't send your project to Taloka, maybe.
But I will need some help to annotate this data anyway. So, and in this case, what should company do usually? In this case, they find some trusted people or some annotators by themselves.
I don't know. Maybe there are some mechanics of this type. Actually, I'm pretty sure there are, but they're not known to me. I'm actually like more researcher than a manager, so I do not know the answer to this question particularly. Yes?
Possible one more question. Is it possible, for example, if you start a project, to choose the location for the annotators and, for example, to set a filter that English should be related?
Yeah, this is perfectly possible. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your attention.